Your end of the year numbers may not be telling you everything about how good your year actually was. Your numbers don't tell you what the year required of you, what it required from your marriage, what it required from your family, what it required of your mental health and your peace. Your year might look great on paper and yet still feel really heavy at home. And we are not against success by any means, but success comes at a cost. It always comes at a cost. And people don't always talk about that part. And so, as you're assessing how your year went and you're setting next year's goals, ask yourself this question: what did this year cost me that is not going to show up on my spreadsheet? You and your spouse might be in the same house, but feel like you're on totally different planets. Maybe your kids stopped scanning the crowd to see your face out there. These are very real things that families can experience that will never show up in the numbers of your business directly, but they're things that you feel at home. And as you seek to build something that matters, seek to build something big and something that lasts, especially when our heart is to build something for legacy that we can pass down and make an impact in the world and in our own family, sometimes we can lose sight of the very thing that we say we're building it for. And so as we're reflecting on our important metrics of the year, some of the most important metrics aren't going to be those things on your profit and loss statement at the end of the year, but they're the things that are probably even more valuable to be assessing and evaluating before you go into next year and set your goals and your rhythms. So I'm Kristen, and this is my husband, Ben. And we are passionate about entrepreneurs building their life in a way that actually supports their family at home. And like we talked about, like the whole reason you set out to start the business was to create a certain life for your family. And sometimes we can get sidetracked by money or success or trying to reach a certain level of status or fame and lose sight of what's most important. So as you're setting your goals for next year, we just really wanted to have this conversation about what are some other important metrics that we should be looking at so that we can build something that's sustainable, that lasts, and that actually thrives, because we have lived this as entrepreneurs ourselves.
Right.
Over a decade ago, we built a 6-figure construction company, and our family was falling apart behind the scenes. And I would say one of our highest revenue years in business was actually the year we were struggling the most at home.
Mm.
And our marriage almost fell apart. We
Yeah.
lost that business. We since decided to intentionally invest in our marriage and rebuild from the ground up, rebuild our foundation. And then since then, we now feel more aligned than ever, have rebuilt a 7-figure construction company, and our life just is at such a different level than it was before. And so that's our heart, and that's what we're passionate about. And we just thought this would be a really helpful conversation to end the year with as you are starting next year and want to start it strong in a way that you last. So what would you say?
You're just coming out swinging on
I'm
this.
I've just been reflecting,
Yeah.
and it's just,
It's been reflecting for sure.
because I think when you do it wrong for so long and then you discover the right way to do it, and through by the word discover, I mean, we worked really, really hard. We invested a lot of money going to conferences, getting mentorship, and really just doing the hard work of marriage to rebuild us first in a strong way so that then the business could be healthy after that. And
Yeah.
it's changed everything.
Yeah. Obviously, you run a business to make money and you want to be successful, because then if you're running a business and you're not making money, you don't really have a business. Maybe have a weird, expensive hobby. So obviously, we want to be making money, and obviously, numbers matter. So I don't think you mean that by any means.
Right.
Obviously, you should know where your numbers are at. You should be growing and have different little check marks and of achievements of like where you're trying to go, and the setting goals, and that actually like shattering those goals and like reaching the next level in business. That's what we all strive to do, and we all strive to be successful. But in that success, you can lose sight of your kids. You can lose sight of your relationship with your spouse. And at what expense does it have on your family when you make a lot of money in the revenue side of things for your business? Like, I think that's what you were saying so elegantly of, your kids. Like, how many games did you miss?
Yeah.
How many recitals did you miss? How many times weren't you not able to go pick them up from school when you said you were going to? How many? Because I know like what we kind of implemented is little like date night for like you take out Lincoln or I take Cameron or like vice versa. They love that time where it's like mommy daddy like date night kind of situation and how and just really get to like have fun with them like solo and stuff. And how many times did you get to go just like hang out with your kids? Um, there is they're only so little for so long. And even as they get older too, and they kind of develop into their little things that they like to do and their little interests, like, and those change so fast too. And if the year is so crazy, so busy, you can easily miss it all.
I think it's almost like this weird backwards plan that we have, that like we hustle and grind so that down the road we can get to this place where we don't have to work. Maybe we retire early or something, so that then we'd have all this free time. And it's like that's the period of time where your kids are little, that you're hustling and grinding and having the late nights and missing all the stuff. And then by the time you get to a financial place to retire early or take more time off, they're older and you missed all those formative years. I think it's like between the ages of 2 and 9 or something, and 3 and 8. It's like in that range of like your kids, like in those years is where they're molded into who they're going to be for the rest of their life. And so those years are so important and so valuable. And usually when you look at like our career, an adult's career, it's like that lines up with the time when you're hustling the most to try to build
Yeah.
something. And so it's backwards to think that, because you think the more time I put in at the office, then it's going to pay off. I'm doing it for my family,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't realize that at the same time you're actually losing the thing that you
Mm.
say you're building for. And so for us, that was it was a rough few years of not realizing that that's what was happening with us. And so it was sort of that awareness of we were each just carrying our own thing. Like you were the one doing the business, I was the one with the little babies at home, and it was separate. We were just separate in it. And it was like we almost understood that we each had our role and that this is what we're doing right now to like build the life that we want. And yet we were separate in it. And then you were missing the kids' milestones and then doing business on your, like kind of by yourself. And then there was financial pressure. And then when something like a snag came in the business, everything just crumbled because we weren't united and together to stand like against that and to fight it together. And so it's just kind of it's all just backwards. It's like you have to be intentional to swim upstream, because like that's where the world is going. It's just the current. It's like, you graduate high school, you go to college, you go for 4 years, and it's just like this traditional, maybe American way of life that doesn't really exist anymore
Mm.
with how, the world of AI and just how fast the world is changing,
Yeah.
and our political climate and the schooling system. And there's so many things that are different than what we grew up with even. And so I think the traditions and the traditional way of doing life,
Different.
it's different.
You can feel it as well, even whatever you believe. Like if you believe in the like coming of Christ and all, like whatever you're at, wherever, even if you don't believe in God and all that, right? Like you can feel year to year, like time is just rapidly
Yeah.
moving at a rate that's like, dude, we just had Christmas. Like, why is it Christmas again? And then it's like Christmas, like, didn't we just do this? And it's like planning Christmas. Like, wait, we just had Christmas. And it's like this cycle, and it's like getting faster and faster and faster to think that like now we look at our almost 18-year-old go to thinking about college and this and that. It's like, man, that 4 years that you're going to try to learn something, the world is going to change at such a rapid rate
Yeah.
that whatever you're going to graduate for, if it's just 4 years, it's going to be obsolete.
It might not even exist
It may
anymore.
not even exist.
Yeah.
And especially now with, like you're saying, with AI and how fast that's changing literally daily. And to think that, oh yeah, I'm going to go to school to do this and that. And it's like AI might just replace that like in the 4 years, and you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for a university to figure out that like now that thing that you wanted to do is no longer even needed because it's been replaced. And that's the way that time and everything is happening right now. And so to think that we are just going to grind it out for, and we're going to provide and we're grinding it. And this is all for the family. It's like at how fast things are changing and moving. Your family's not even, they're not sticking around, that
Childhood doesn't wait for you.
dad's out, you think about like, I guess like time frame, right? And like how, dad's out in the field all day working, back in the day. And then dad went to the industrial age where dad's out there grinding and trying to grab that corporate ladder. And now then mom started working, then just progressively how we've changed as a society, where it's like where information technology and things are just like happening so fast that like our I guess like our kids too, because it's where we've kind of changed is like thinking like business for them and think outside the box, like think a different way. That's why I love you doing homeschool too, because it's it lets them be able to like think about things differently. Not they're not like stuck in the way of everybody else.
Yeah.
They could, if they want to start a business, like we're more than happy to help them. Hey there, we hope you are enjoying this conversation. But hey, we had a quick question for you. Right now, currently, who is in your corner for your marriage? One thing we know about the top athletes, the top business owners, the top leaders is that they all can't do it without the support.
That's right. And when it comes to a couple in business, it's the same way. Imagine what it could be like, even if you're not in crisis. Maybe everything's going great, but imagine what it could be like to have a couple in your corner, encouraging you and making sure you guys stay aligned as you continue down your path together.
Or maybe you are in crisis mode and you have no idea where to even start. Well, we can help you with that too.
There is going to be a link in the description below. You can click that link and you can go ahead and book a discovery call with us. We would love to get to know you, hear your story, and see if we might be a good fit to help you on your path moving forward.
Let's get back into this conversation.
Well, I think that's what's beautiful about like the entrepreneurial life. I mean, it comes with a lot of challenges. We had a conversation earlier today of like entrepreneurship is the biggest path to self-discovery. Like there's nothing like it as far as like how much it tests you, the successes, the failures, the risk taking, all those different things that this journey, this life of an entrepreneur kind of puts you through is like you learn what you're made of and then you learn what it takes to make it in whatever area you're trying to go in. So like self-development and investing in yourself and all those things. And so I think it's just because coming from college after high school, it's like you just go to college. That's just what you do was like my kind of family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember there ever being a conversation about anything else, any other path. And I just remember, I think it was my junior year, my mom took me to a academic like planner for college. And so she helped me fill out my application for student loans and all these things and like looking for scholarships. And thankfully I did get some scholarships, but I also got a lot of loans. And it's just crazy to think looking back now, like my degree and I don't know, I guess it's just like your maturity level at that age too, like the front of your brain isn't even fully developed till you're like 25. And so I was still a child when I went away to college. And so I didn't treat it like I should have. And, I kind of blew off classes and I got decent grades, but I didn't take any of it very seriously. And so I got a business degree with a focus in entrepreneurship. And so you could say like, well, I'm an entrepreneur now. So that was the right path. But it's like the amount of things I can actually point to in my college career and say like, I remember this from college. I learned this from college. It's like our world is so different from the things that I learned in college. And I just wish, I don't know, no regrets. We learned from everything.
No regrets.
But I think there would have been another route that probably would have been more valuable to me and left me with less debt. But it's like, you don't know what you don't know. And now that I am where I am, I'm excited for our kids and the opportunities that they have and the life that we get to build because we want to. And so kind of back to just, I guess as this conversation is sort of like reflecting on this past year and looking at how we're going to do things next year, what we're going to take with us that's working and what we might want to change. I just love the ability to shape our family dynamic, how it works best for us. And the biggest part of that is business, obviously, because you need income
Mm-hmm.
to support your family. And so the biggest check, I guess, for us is just making sure that we're not sacrificing one for the other,
Yeah.
because our family is the most important, but we do need money to supply all the things we want to do with our family.
Yeah.
So it's not just barely skate by so that we can, do puzzles all day with our kids. That's not reality. But how do we build a life that supports both? And we firmly believe, especially the things that we've learned just over this past year, I think personal growth, we've both grown a ton because we've been intentional about investing in ourselves and learning things that we didn't already know, joining masterminds, joining different challenges and things like that. Um, and just keeping each other in check in business, that as we endeavor to do new things, that we make sure we're building in time for our kids,
Yeah.
bringing them along with us, not sacrificing family time so that we can work, or sacrificing work for family time always. But it's like, what's the healthy rhythm where we can do all of it together? And that's the beauty of, homeschool, I guess, too, but just being entrepreneurs, and we get to build the life that we want, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
is what like the big opportunity is in this age. Like, it's probably never been easier to start your own business. And yet it can also seem really hard because everything feels saturated,
Mm-hmm.
and social media and AI, like our access to information is greater than it's ever been. And yet it can feel like there's a lot more competition in certain areas, but it really is just, you build what you want. And I think just our heart in this conversation is reflect back on where you spent most of your time this past year. What went well, and where did you probably miss the mark? Because we all probably did, like we can always get better. None of
Mm-hmm.
us is like killing it in every area. And so even with us having this conversation about like, where did we do well, and where do we want to maybe like change the dynamics to better serve our family?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see if you had, because we have the spreadsheets on, so many things and budgets and spend and all this stuff, but like actual like time spent with your family, like have that in the little like column and just kind of see, you know. I know we've seen a couple that had a date night calendar to see like check off the list of how many times they were going to go on a date, but
Yeah.
then you also saw like how many times they missed going on a date, even though they committed to doing it like once a week. And you saw the weeks that they missed. It'd be interesting to have like some kind of calendar as well to see like, you were going to do a family movie. And if you set the goal for the year of 26 or whatever year it is, right? And it's like, we're going to have a family movie night, family, whatever night each week. And you have the calendar of that. And then the ones that you missed, you don't check, but the ones that you hit, then you check. So you can kind of see that rhythm of like, oh, wow, like you missed a lot. And obviously in seasons too, because you're
Yeah.
growing. And so it's just like, life is a balance. But if we stay so focused on money and we make money the root of everything that we do, all the deciding factors, then like it's always going to control us. And money is a great tool, but it's also a really bad tool.
Master.
It's a mat.
If
It's
you let it rule you.
yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
it's just a balance, and obviously, if you don't have money, then it controls you. But if you have a lot of money, it can control you. So so you have to have that freedom. You need to create the freedom so that you can spend time with your family. Because if you're always strapped and you can never pay your bills, then now obviously you're trying to think of ways to do this. Now you're like saying, you see that couple, it's like now they're doing Lyft and now they're going to do Uber and now they're doing Uber Eats and now they're working this night job just to try to make things happen, which is good in seasons if you need that, but also like thinking like, change that lens to look to see like, well, what can we do different this coming year, like, or this last year, like we did all this stuff and like it was just too much and we didn't even see each other and because we were just trying to survive. Well, like moving forward, like now what can we do differently? And then just like make that plan and just attack it and after it.
Yeah. And so for us, one of the biggest things we recommend is like a beginning of the year, like a vision retreat or a couples retreat or whatever you want to call it, like a little couples getaway.
Yeah.
So obviously we're huge on date nights throughout the year to keep you strong, keep you connected, keep you guys aligned as you're growing. But in January, like start the year with And you could do it at the end of the year, but I feel like that's probably harder because of Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. Yeah.
So maybe January, but like making that in your schedule because your company does it. Your company's gonna have goal setting and like vision meetings and all that to like set your Q1 goals and delegate tasks and all that kind of stuff. But like do that in your marriage too, because that's a really healthy thing to do to look back and reflect and then make your goals moving forward.
Yeah.
And so like we're saying, like we want you to kill it in business. Like we want to kill it in business, but we also want kids who grow up and are like positive contributors to society. And for us, like it's important to us that they love God and that they are good, kind people and that they're smart and that they can provide for themselves in this world and go out on their own and be self-sufficient, like that's a big deal. And so for us, it's like taking the time to make sure like they know how to cook, they know how to clean, they know how to do normal chores, they know how to
Like spreadsheet.
make a spreadsheet, figure out profit margin for baking business. And I will just say that is like probably one of the greatest ROIs of parenting has been teaching our daughter to bake
Mm.
and getting her in the kitchen because she's at the age now, she's 12. But I'll just be working away on my computer and she'll just come bring me like a freshly baked chocolate chip cookie. And there's nothing like that when I did not have to lift a finger. And the house smells great and she didn't burn anything down. And it's actually a quality, great cookie. And she's done this with
Perfection.
muffins and scones and all the things. So it's just really cool. So like it is that, but it is that work in the beginning, right? Like that's kind of just, I guess that applies in so many areas. But when they're little, it is messy and it is a lot of repeating yourself and it is monitoring the mistakes and eating the scrambled eggs with the eggshells in it because they cracked them and broke them. But when you put in that hard work and like let it be messy for a bit, then eventually they're getting trained in that process and then they grow up and then they can do it on their own. And so your business feels like that too, though, where it's like the hard grind in the beginning to get it to that place where it's a little more self-sustainable and hopefully you make good hires and you have other people you can trust to run things. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe you need to learn to delegate this next year and give some things away. And if it takes a notch down in your control or like quality, but your quality of life is better,
Mm-hmm.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I know for a lot of people, hiring is a big one and letting some of that stuff go. But like think overall quality of life and what's most important. Like we've just seen too many people who retire and then their body like falls apart and it's something about the mental stimulation. I mean, like we know a lot of people and have heard of a lot of people that it's like you're grinding for so long that once you finally get your like rest time,
Mm-hmm.
like what's that quality of life worth?
Yeah. They worked so hard for so many years to finally retire at the good old age of 65 or whatever it is. And then they end up like a lot of them like dying or they get sick and then now all the money they attempted to save up is gone with hospital stuff. And you're just like, wait, why are we doing what we're doing? Because like that, I don't want to repeat history. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I even look at that with like my dad, and he worked my whole entire life. He worked. I mean, that dude worked. We knew like, and it's like, what do you want to be known for? Because like that dude, he was a worker. That dude worked his butt off, and it's like, is that what you want to be known for? That guy, yeah, he 6 7 days a week. He was always working. He was a really good hard worker. He really cared. Okay, cool. Like, but then you look back, it's like, how often did he miss dinner? How often did he miss games? How often like did we go on vacation because we couldn't because he was work? You know what I mean? And not like saying anything against him at all. Like because he was his model was terrible what he grew up with. So he grew up with growing up super poor, just his whole side of the family. And so then when he got to the working age, he's just like, I'm not going to be poor. Then when he got married, had kids, he's just like, we're not going to live the same way that my parents did. And then so he didn't want to repeat history. So he went so far to the other extreme of like, we're not living like that. And then now and he finally got to retire, which was I was pushing him to do it way earlier just because it's like, dude, like be done, you don't need to keep on going. But he just like, you kind of get to that point where it's like when it's like all you do and it's what you know, it's like, well, then what else am I gonna do? Because he started to have hobbies towards the end, but also it's like when you are so wrapped up in what you're doing, that's like kind of like your worth. Um, and then and then finally retired, and then all of a sudden got that diagnosis for that disease, and then just like boom, gone in within a year. It's like, dang, finally gonna retire, and then kind of did get forced to retire because of some of the body stuff started to like kind of creep up on him, and then then that was it, and it's just like, man, like just like I reflect a lot with my dad because it sometimes we are we me him and myself, or myself and him, however the proper way to say that is. She'll correct me after this, but I look at him and me like to get like it's just like that reflection. It's just like because we have a lot of similarities, and when then we were running the kind of the same business, and it's just like, man, like I just see that reflection of, and then looking into the future of like I don't want to repeat history. I don't want to, and that's like the heart of the legacy shift. Like that is when you boil it all down, it is the heart of this podcast. It is the heart of what when we do workshops. It's the heart when we have one-on-one coaching. It's so that we can open up the hood in your marriage, in your business, with your relationships, with your kids, so that we can open the hood up, see what's going on, and fix it before it's too late, fix it before things get way too far down the road, and it's almost unrepairable. That's like the heart, is like we want you to like see see it differently, think legacy, and that's the whole point of like legacy. So we shifting your perspective, like, and it's not too late, and like knowing that like it's not too late, like we can switch up our business model, we can start a different business and do it like this, or work somewhere else that doesn't require you to be there 70 hours a week. Like think differently, and in doing this, like when you have that shift in your perspective, every decision that you make, you're thinking about it differently.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about just the money. You're not thinking about, oh, like the car or the vacation. You're thinking about like, how will this affect my relationship with my wife? If I take on this client, how will that affect my relationship with my wife? How will that affect my kids? And if that's on your mind, then you make decisions differently. You're not so quick to take on something if you know it can affect like your relationship at home.
I think it's intentionality is our biggest of because you're exactly what you're talking about, like the model that's been modeled for you and your parents. You're most likely going to drift that same direction because that's what you've seen, unless you intentionally stop and do something different. And so there's something about just the current of our world that sort of swirls people all in the same direction. But if you stop and assess, like, wait, what do I actually want in life, and what works best for my family? So whether you have siblings or kids, and if being close to family is important to you, or if it's not, like exactly what you're saying, clients that you take on, like, am I going to be traveling a lot for this new thing? Well, maybe that's not healthy for my family. Maybe it's great for the bottom line, and essentially you can create sort of like these little inner vows to yourself, like when you grow up or you saw your parents grow up in poverty, then it's like that, I will never be poor in my life. And then that dictates the decisions that you make.
Yeah.
Because then now you're saying, well, I'll never be poor. And so I feel like that's part of like your dad, like then I'm going to grind and grind and grind and work hard so that my family's not poor. But then he misses
And
the
because
kids,
in doing that, when you say those things, you make those statements, which is good. I mean, the intention was good.
Yeah.
But you can get so tunnel vision and only seeing it one way, versus like, no, I want to have a great relationship with my family. Now, what do I have to do?
Yeah. And that side too of what matters more, like the things that you can provide for them or your presence and being there. And so I think sometimes people just have a skewed understanding of what do kids really want and what matters the most to them. Even thinking about, like end of the year, so like holidays or birthdays, or, when it comes time to like give a gift to a kid, like, do you remember when even reflecting on your own childhood, like, is there a standout, like a toy that you can remember.
I think if it wasn't for any pictures being taken, I
Yeah.
would never remember. But because of the picture, that they took, and
What was
like,
it?
I don't even.
Oh,
Oh, I mean, I think one thing was like, but I don't. Only because of the picture is
because
the
of
only
the
reason
photo.
why I know.
Yeah.
But it was like an army gun with like a helmet and stuff. Me and my dad, like were wearing it, and that's like the picture of like we were
That's the
like,
picture. But then like the memory attached to that isn't probably so much. I remember opening the box and I was so excited. Or was it my dad and I used to play army guns together?
right,
And so I think that even with our kids, it's like we can think that they get really caught up in, because our kids like their little Christmas lists and they get the toy catalogs and they circle all the things.
circle every
But at the
page.
end of the day, it's like we could get them all that stuff. And we know this from life experience. It will be in the donation pile next month.
Yeah,
They're over it. They already broke it. They lost the toys. They don't care about it. But if we do something with them, like you said in the beginning, like our little mommy and Lincoln dates and like little daddy and Camsy dates, like our little times where we have one-on-one intentional time, they're beaming when they come home, when they get one-on-one time with us. And so they might think it's the stuff, but really when they're our age, they're going to reflect and it's the moments. It's
yeah.
those experiences.
We get so worked up when we are out there in this holiday season, and we're buying gifts, and we're getting so everyone's getting all stressed out, and then knowing that but we know it, but yet we do it every year.
Yeah.
Why the heck is that? You know what I mean? Like every year we know like at least by 6 months, most of the stuff's getting thrown away or getting donated, or yeah, most likely broken and it's going in the garbage, right? But yet we still do it. It's like a continuous vicious cycle every single year. We just put ourselves through it.
Yeah.
When it's like when we think about like those times where we went to Coeur d'Alene or like different things of as a family, and how much fun and the things that they still talk about.
Yeah.
Like even now at a younger age, and that as we put the legacy shift lens on our family now at this early age, we can see it in our kids, like the memories of doing things as a family versus the gift that they got.
Yeah. How many years ago was that? Oh, it was 2020.
Yeah.
It was like mask season. Yeah, I remember that. We said we're not going to do plastic things for Christmas this year. Our family's going to take a road trip. We went to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which was like 6-hour drive for us, something like that. But we spent Christmas there, and they still talk about it. I mean, that was, almost 6 years ago now, but that was like the highlight of their little childhood, and they still talk about it. And I think some of it can be, like comparison, obviously with social media and just people blasting all that stuff now, especially in like influencer world where the gifts are over the top and there's a whole room just of wrapped presents around this giant tree. And it can seem all about the stuff. And especially as friends, like I think there's some of that too, like wanting your kids not to feel left out when their friends are all like, well, I got a phone for Christmas and I got this. And what did you get for Christmas? And if they say nothing, or like, we just went somewhere. Oh, you didn't get any toys, that's always sort of a thing in your head. But it's like, if you want to build a family that's different, you have to be okay with stuff like that. And it's how you communicate it to your kids, I think. But it is one of those things that, you don't realize. Like I even just look at my childhood and like all the rules I feel like my parents had at the time, I resented them for it. And now as an adult, I'm like, you should have had more rules. I would have been so great. Like you should have stopped me from going to this place and that place. And like our rules are out of love and to protect. And I think as a kid, you don't see that. Obviously, you just look at it as restriction. And my parents don't want me to do anything fun. And it's like so dramatic. But once you're older, you look back and you really appreciate and value all of that, because every rule that my parents had for me, every boundary they had, was ultimately because they loved me. And so I think for us with our kids, it's the same thing. And it's almost just like, are we okay with looking different until they're older and they totally understand? And I think they would respect and appreciate it. And what'll be really cool too is like when they choose to have the same traditions, because there's stuff that we've built with our kids that we started. They weren't stuff that our parents did with us. There's some things we carry on from our childhood, but there's some things that we chose to start because it's important to us. And those are cool things that they talk about, they look forward to every year. And so when it comes to legacy, like, yeah, we want to make an impact in our community and our world with our business. Hopefully we started our business to help the world in some way, a product or a service that helps people and serves our community. But at the end of the day, If we build a thriving business that makes all the money in the world and we own all the things in the world, but our family doesn't know us, our kids don't know us, our kids don't want to come home for holidays after they're out of the house, they don't want to spend time with us, our spouse leaves because they don't know us or they felt ignored the whole time we were building our thing. I think it's a really important reflection to take often, but especially at the end of the year. When you're looking over your numbers and you're looking at all the metrics, setting goals is what really matters the most because, I want to succeed in business, but I want to succeed at home even more. Guess what we have started?
We have started an online community where married couples can come together in one place.
Yes, you will meet people just like you. Have you ever thought to yourself, does anyone else go through this? Or how do those other people on social media look like they never have any problems? Well, guess what? They do. They've just worked through them or they're not showing them to you. And so we have created a community. We are all going to be real with each other. We're there to help each other. We're there to share stories and encourage each other. We are going to have resources of things that have quite literally changed our marriage, the way we view each other, the way we view our marriage. And we're really excited.
Yeah, so many fun things in there. We don't want to reveal all of them to you. Just know it's going to be worth every bit for you and your spouse to join together so that you can be strengthened, you can be encouraged, and ultimately you can walk with purpose together as a couple. Let's get back into this conversation. And sadly, most of the time, I would say that most people, they get to a certain spot and then the kids, they don't want to come home anymore, or they want to do a completely opposite. Or it's like years down the road that they finally mend that relationship, or like you see you see it all over social media. We even get we get your guys' hate comments about
not yours. They wouldn't
but
still be watching.
Yeah, the people that sometimes they send us comments and just man, you're messed up. The way
you can hear the bitterness.
Hear the bitterness, and from probably just from unchecked things going too long. And then you get hurt and things happen because when you're not intentional with your relationship, with thinking about the year and then projecting to next year, if you're not intentional about keeping the family, how's the health check of our family, then it's going to lead to a path of bitterness and hatred and ultimately end up in divorce. And then the kids not wanting to come home, the kids not wanting to be anything like you or anywhere near you. It's how often do you hear that too? It's good night. It's like a vicious cycle that keeps on happening, and you literally have to be intentional and knock it off.
Just knock it off.
Knock it off.
Yeah.
So so when you say the getaway, what does that look like? Explain that to them.
Okay, a getaway needs to be at least 3 days, I would say, because it takes a bit, especially if you're a hustle-minded, busy season business, to get you to unplug.
You're a business owner, or
if you're a business owner,
just a go-getter,
and to get your mind to shift and unplug from that, which it never really unplugs, but to at least be able to decompress enough to focus on your marriage. That almost takes a whole day. So it should be at least 3 days. It should be, if possible, outside of your town, go somewhere. It can be tropical. It can be snowy. It can be whatever vibe you want. But I think structuring it the first half of the day is talking about these things, having conversations. So looking at each area, looking at your kids, looking at your finances, looking at your work time and maybe your church involvement, maybe just whatever your life looks like. Kind of look through every area and reflect on your year. How did we do in this area? And then maybe having hard conversations. If one of you feels like you were neglected or ignored, or you felt like you were always put in, took a back seat to something else, to voice that. Because, it's not just the husband at work all the time. The wife has a propensity to put the kids first, generally speaking. Those are two just sort of generalizations in a marriage. And so maybe the husband feels like his needs weren't met either. And so that goes both ways. So it's just both of you kind of saying, I loved these things, but then I kind of felt like in this area, I had some needs that weren't met, or it would have been nice if I had more support in this area, those kinds of things. And bringing that up in a respectful, not attacking way. And communication's a big part of that, obviously. But then, like, spend the second half of the day going out and exploring. So, and if you're in snowy places, maybe you like just go down to the hotel with a fireplace and a
Well, then
cozy.
go skiing.
Yeah, go skiing. Well, that doesn't appeal to me because I'm like, that's so cold. You'd want to go somewhere warm if you're out in the
Skiing
snow.
is a lot.
I like to look at the snow while I'm next to the fireplace.
Yeah, wrapped in a
So,
blanket.
but if you guys are like snow bunnies, then get out on the slopes. So yeah, go do something at night that's like date nights, date little adventures, go out to dinner, go do fun things together and connect. Um, and it's sort of like you're getting both things at once. So, and also like cut off if there was maybe a heated conversation that came up, or maybe there were tears in the first half of the day, just like table that till the next day and like go out and enjoy each other and have fun and connect, because you can so easily lose each other throughout the year. So just those touch points of, and it's not just about like recovering from the season you just had, depending on what your life looked like. If you hit a hard season in business or you had some major life events happen, sometimes it can feel like we need to rest and recover from the past season, but you're also getting stronger for the season ahead. And you don't always know what's coming. Sometimes you do, if you know, like your business is launching some new thing, or you're taking on a new clients, or your kid is starting school, or there's some kind of life change that's coming that you see coming. You're getting stronger for that. But sometimes there's like a storm on the horizon that you don't see. And so maybe there's a diagnosis coming, or a family need, or a friend is about to move away, or, those kinds of things that like we don't see coming. But it's when you guys connect at the beginning of the year, you're stronger and sort of ready for anything that might come like that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
great.
What else would you add?
Um, yeah, I think it's just that reminder that like you are on the same team, and often in society and how people act right now. Well, not everybody, but just some population of married couples. Just like you do you thing, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. We'll go on a vacation and just kind of chill, and like you guys are building a life together. Like you, a husband and wife, a mom and dad, something that your kids can model. Like other couples can look to you as like a model that they can live their life, like, a husband and wife, how a husband should love their wife, how a wife should love their husband. And if you approach it from that lens, approach it from we're on the same team. And yeah, there might be tough conversations. There might be things that come up from the year that, like, just you were holding on to. Like, this is a great time to talk about it. Hopefully you are taking our advice and having multiple date nights like throughout the month. So like a lot of these things should be kind of nipped in the butt. But if you don't listen to our advice and you haven't had a date night, then this little retreat might hit a little different, like in some
Yeah.
of the conversations, because like you need to get it out, and you can't, because if you hold things in, that's where trouble like starts, and that's where it wants to brew and like make things like really really intense. Um, so um, having those recap moments and then just going and having fun. I think the the constant pursuit of your spouse in every season, no matter how busy you are, because so I'm gonna just let's just paint this picture like this, okay? Like if you were still successful as you are today, running your business or whatever you're doing, and you were single, like, and then you wouldn't just be still single, you would be pursuing somebody, because now from a different light, right? Like, so we're just pretending now, right? We're not saying this is what you're doing, we're just pretending. So we're pretending that like you're successful, you're killing it, and then you're single. Well, if you're single, well, what are you doing? Like you're pursuing somebody or multiple people to find the one, right? And you're putting all that effort in randomly, and interestingly enough, you're making time for that to happen. Even how busy you are at work and all the things that you're doing, you find yourself having time to persuade and pursue this person. But we don't want to do that anymore with our spouse that we have. so often because we're busy at work.
You already got him.
You already got them. So like she's at home, it's good. Like, we're good. Like, no, like we need that same energy, that same tenacity to pursuing your spouse all the time. And I know a lot of people don't like me saying that. We've had some interesting comments on that. But you know what? Like I'm going to keep
Those
on
people are
saying
single.
they're single and they're bitter. And I'm going to
Mhm.
keep on saying it. Hey, you need to be pursuing your spouse. And it goes both ways too. It can't just be like, well, he never pursues me anymore. It's like, well, what are you doing, honey? Like, are you pursuing him? Like, are you putting in the effort? Because think about that. Imagine two people putting in the effort like you did in the beginning together. Not just like, well, he needs to bring me flowers or he needs no, no, no.
Yeah.
You too, honey. You need to help. And sir, like you need to be pursuing her like you're pursuing a better golf game. That same that same just tweaking of your swing, of your hip rotation, and how you obsess with it, that's what you need to be doing with your spouse.
It's a great
Is that
illustration.
right? It was pretty good,
That
right?
probably spoke very directly to
This is
some people.
right to your soul right there. Well, just because if you come at it from like that lens, and because that means what? That means that you both are trying. That means that you both are putting in the effort. That means yes, we're not perfect, and some days are going to be rough than others, and some days I'm going to have to apologize. Some days she's going to have to apologize, but what we're going to be quick to apologize. Why?
Yeah.
Because we're pursuing, we're loving, we're trying to be better.
And quick to forgive
Right.
and give grace to the other person because you're both carrying a lot. No matter what your role is or what your life looks like, you're both carrying a lot and you carry it in different ways. And so have grace for one another, assume the best, believe the best about their intentions for you, their heart for you, that they love you, they care for you, and that you are on the same team.
Right. Yeah. So as you're reflecting and coming into the new year, setting your goals, we're thinking about those times that we missed. And but here's the thing: is we're not trying to put condemnation on you and condemn you and just add another thing to your list. But we're just trying to open up your heart, open up your eyes to think differently. Just see your year differently and what it would look like if I put my kid we did a little bit more with the kids. What if we changed this aspect of our business to where somebody else can handle it, or we found some kind of automation that can handle that, or we just completely shifted our business model to where now we're doing something different to where now we can create more freedom that's helping out with the family. Hey, we hope that you enjoyed this conversation. Ultimately, we just want this to shine some light in some areas so that you can just get better. And this coming year, we believe that it will be your guys' best year in business and family and your marriage. Hey, maybe you don't know or haven't heard people talk like this, but you want more information, you just want more accountability. You've set the goal that we're gonna do that this coming year. Well, guess what? We have started an online community for like-minded couples like you. So click the link below so that you can get more information, and we'll see you there.